Virtue is in the eye of the beholder. Someone who thinks they're smarter than another is blind. Even a scholar could be blind. Hey, what's up? What's going on, everybody? You have now tuned into my channel. Definitely make sure that you go ahead, hit subscribe, turn on your post notifications so you don't miss any of my power videos. We are back with Powerbook, yes. Also, make sure you check out my other channel, Samore Love TV, because that's where I do all my other types of videos, because I still be here. Y'all just haven't seen me because I was waiting for Power to come back. And I haven't really watched that many other shows like I told y'all before. So, let's go ahead and talk about this episode, y'all. Monet and Cane. Okay, they were like the first in the scene, and they're about to take down some group called GTG Group. I guess it's some group out in Queens. They've been really doing the most on social media and kind of making things hot for them. So they're not really liking the way that they're moving and stuff like that. When Monet was kind of talking about it, she didn't really want to get Cane involved, and the father was saying that he more so wants Drew to do it. I guess because out of the two of them, Drew, I feel like he's more of the peacemaker. He's more of the kind to keep things level-headed and stuff like that. But Drew, he's more of the gang banging, bring out the guns, I'm ready to fight everybody type of guy. So he wants Drew to kind of step up and do a lot more in the family business than he wants Cane to do because of that. Now, let's move on to Tasha. Tasha, she's telling Davis that she wants to go on the stand. She's ready. She knows what she's doing. Paula, she's not really with it. She's like, she don't really think that she's ready. She don't think that it would be a good look, a good idea. But Tasha is determined. Like, she feels like she knows what she's doing and she's ready. She's ready for whatever. Like, she's built for it tough. But that's the thing. Like, sometimes I wouldn't say underestimates, but like overestimates herself. Like she thinks she's somebody that she's not, or she thinks that it's going to be 1, 2, 3 like a little breeze, but it's not like that. Tyreek, he has been consistently late to like all his classes. We always see him either running or coming in late or whatever. So he gets called out by the professor for the canonical I said this wrong the last time too. Canonical studies. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So yeah, he ends up coming in late, and the professor calls him out. But he finally did read the book. He claims he finished reading it. I guess that's part of the reason why he was late, supposedly. And he did give good points when the professor tried to challenge him, and he defended his statements. But you could tell that the professor wasn't really feeling the fact that he was kind of opposed to, what you would have thought the answer would have been. Like, he had his own. It was almost like a debate. Like, the professor thought it was one thing, but he felt it was something else. And in the background, I forgot what the black professor's name is, but he was, like, in the background kind of listening. And he seemed pretty amused. I guess he's like the sub teacher or whatever. Like, he's like the second in command or whatever, and he assists that professor as well. So he was kind of listening, and he seemed amused and even kind of proud that Tyreek was standing up for himself. So, but it did seem like he was also making the white professor a little bit upset, by challenging him. So some of his friends like Lauren pretty much Lauren had told him, sometimes you gotta give them what they want and kind of not go against them. You know what I mean? If you're trying to win in this game or in this life, sometimes you gotta kind of go with the flow. And maybe for her that has worked because, she's a light-skinned person. She doesn't have the same types of challenges that a lot of other black people do have. So maybe just kind of going with the flow and giving people what they want has worked for her throughout their life. But it's good advice, but it may not be always the best advice, you know? It's like on a case-by-case type of basis. Tasha, she's trying to hook up with that friend from jail, and see how she can kind of get like a connect, you know what I mean? That chick that needed the plan B. So she ended up bringing it to her, and now they kind of have like a little connection or whatever, which is pretty cool. But it's not like real solid. Then I seen this dude that was looking at them and taking pictures, and I was like, why is he over here doing this? But they showed later on that he was actually somebody for Tejada. Like, he's a Tejada worker, and he's kind of like an informant for Tejada, like letting him know things that's going on, because obviously he was the one that helped her. Well, now we find out that he was the one who helped her to get the burner, and he also helped her to get the plan B for the other chick. And also he was able to now report back like, nah, she's not sleeping with none of the guards or anything. She actually gave it away to somebody else. So now things are starting to come together. But now she got people watching her, because once you help these type of people, like, they won't be keeping their eyes on you, you know? So Tasha, she ends up getting like this whole glam team. Paula calls her to come and get ready so that she can go to trial and show and look that she's innocent, you know? So it was like really impromptu, you know, they just got her all dressed up and everything. And it was smart, because this was actually a mock trial, but it was a mock trial to show her it's not as easy as you think. And they actually had to pay these people some big time money in order to be able to have them use their time, their resources, and to give something that would actually be something like an actual trial. You know, these weren't rookies, these were real people, you know? So she wasn't really too, initially when she found out what this was, she wasn't really too happy about it. She was like, you got me out here looking like a black Malibu Barbie for what? You know, this ain't even real. But he's like, we're going to give you a taste of what it's going to look like. This is like official. So make sure that you treat it as such. Anything that you say right now is not going to be held against you. And they all signed confidentiality agreements. But we want you to treat this real, you know? So, yeah, I feel like quickly enough she found out that this little mock trial was not as easy as she thought, because Tamika ends up being the person that was like going against her on the other side. And Tamika, she's familiar with this case, so she knows exactly what to say, how to push her buttons. And the whole Silver thing, she tried to say like, all right, so if you weren't the one who killed him, did you order it? And she's like, no, I would never do that. He was in love with me. So she's like, you trying to pin this on James, but James was already in a whole nother relationship. Like, why would he do that for you? Like, you trying to say he did it out of jealousy? You know, I mean, at the end of the day, that's exactly what happened. But these lawyers could spin it any way they want to make it, and all they have to do is make it sound believable, you know, and have reasons why it just sounds freaking ridiculous. And she's like, okay, so we feel like you were the one who ordered the hit. And she was like that she can't make James do things for her. But she's like, okay, you can't make James do things for you, but yet you ordered Tommy to put the hit out on James. So why would we think that, you know, no one else was doing things for you? Like, come on. And I was like, no. Tamika is really shutting it down right now. Like, she's shutting it down. I was like, damn. She like threw her for all types of loops. Like, she looked like she was about to break down and just cry. And she just wanted to go back to her cell and find a rock and just hide under it and just be in her own self-pity. Like, that's the way she started to look. Like, Tamika gave it to her. They also invited Tamika as well because they wanted to get some intel as to why Sachs had initially hired her. And just the look on her face, but she didn't really say anything because, of course, of confidentiality and it's privileged information. But just the look on her face kind of showed that, something is going on, you know? Paula, she's so over this whole entire case, but McLean, I feel like for him, he feels like it's a challenge, so he's up for the challenge. And also he knows if he does beat this case, this is going to push him to the next level. So, you know, he's no Proctor, but Proctor got such good accolades. I mean, he got a bad reputation, but he also got up there and a lot more clientele because of the people that he worked with and the people that he was able to get off. So, you know, that's the type of dude that this guy is. It's, as he said it at one point, it's not necessarily about the truth, but it's about what you can get the jury to believe. That's what it's all about at the end of the game. At the end of the day, it's just a game, you know, a game that you gotta win. You gotta say the right things. Funny how, like, when Tyreek ends up trying to go to the game with Diana and Monet, and Monet didn't even know that her son wasn't back on the team at that point, and he was still on probation, so he wasn't even playing. He ends up telling Diana, because the mother was being mad standoffish, so he's like, what did I do to her? She was like, nothing. It's just when she's in her moods or whatever, she kind of takes things out on me, and she doesn't really want to hear anything, etc., etc. So he was like, you know, sometimes you just gotta give people what they want to hear. He kind of gave her that advice as well. The same advice that Lauren gave to him, he gave it to her. And I feel like for her, it ended up backfiring on her as well in the end, because she tried to, you know, kind of make believe she was going with the flow, but then go above her mother, talk to her father about going to school, because her mother ain't with her going to school. She just kind of feels like she needs to be there to be a part of the business. Like, you know, I thought that Zeke was part of that he was also her kid, but now I realize that he's her aunt, because I heard him, Tyreek mention it. So it's like, she just wants her little family to, like, almost not do anything. And Zeke is supposed to be the savior because, I guess, because he's not really her kid. So she wants to make sure that he just stays out of all of this mess. It's just crazy. But yeah, like I said, it didn't work out for Diana. It ended up backfiring because she had her own little burner or whatever, talked to her father. Father eventually tried to talk to Monet when they had the little conjugal visit, but she's very stubborn, and at the end of the day, he's in jail and she's out. So she's like, she's the one running the house, so the daughter needs to do what she tells her to do, you know, and stop trying to be sneaky and go around her, because that's not going to help. Drew ends up going to see the GTG dude that I told you about earlier, the one that's like all on social media, you know, blasting everything, showing how everything's going down, like everything he want to be streaming live, streaming the parties, streaming the girls, you know, just making it hot, because at the end of the day, the feds is watching, you know what I mean? Like, they are watching everything that's going down, and it's gonna affect them because they work for them. So he goes to see them, and he has like a real, you know, real nice, you know, I'm gonna talk to you, let's have a conversation type of approach. But it seemed like it wasn't about to go anywhere. Like, he was about to get his gun when the dude was disrespecting him, because the dude was talking crazy. He even said something about, oh, you know, why his mom is on him because she hasn't gotten anything in like all these years. So it was a little, he was starting to get a little out of pocket, because he knew that he wasn't Cane. Because, you know, nobody wants to mess with Cane, because they know that this dude is ready to blast off at any moment, and he's unpredictable. So Drew was about to get his gun at that moment, like when he was up in the GTG dude's face. But there comes Cane out of nowhere. Like, just all he had to do was give the dude the look, and the dude was like, oh, hey, Cane. You know, it was like, oh, you know, like shaking in his boots type of thing. Drew, of course, felt a little disrespected, because he was supposed to be the one taking care of everything. And he's like, now he feels undermined, because it's like, all right, so y'all didn't trust me? Y'all thought I couldn't handle it? Of course, Drew, being an unpredictable person that he is, he has to go blast off, you know, with the gunshots. Then when they leave, all of a sudden you see the cops coming. Luckily, one of the cops was a dude that the mom is messing with, you know, to keep everything under control, keep things quiet and stuff like that. So she's able to ask him for favors. And he knows her kids, so he noticed it was both of them. So as they run, the partner is running after them. Cane was ready to blast the dude, like blast the cop. But luckily he was able to kind of get him to be calm or whatever. I mean, not calm. The other cop was able to say, yo, I think they went over there, you know, because it was about to get really nasty. And once you kill a cop, like, you can't really come back from that. And that would have been more stuff that this guy would have had to kind of cover up, you know, the other cop, the cop that's working with Monet. So he did go see her, like, later on and try to plead with her and say, you know, you got to stop this. But she's like, I can't stop my business. Like, we need to eat. It's not going to happen. But he told them, like, we've been getting a lot of calls lately because of the stuff that's been going on social media. So they're being watched, you know. So now it's confirmed, like, these people are bringing the heat. Following that, Tyreek, he ends up getting a failed paper from that same canonical studies class, and he tries to approach the white professor and find out what's going on. He's like, that's not my thing. Like, I don't grade these papers. So when he goes to visit the black professor, the same one I told you about earlier, he said that he gave him that grade because he was actually disappointed in him, because there's not that many black people in the school, first of all, right? I'm assuming from what he said. And on top of that, he's like, you know, we're the minority, and when you have something that you strongly believe in, you should never, like, just give it up. And this is where I said Lauren's advice kind of didn't work for him. It may have worked if the white guy was the one doing it, but for a black guy, they want you to kind of stand up for what you believe in. He heard what he said, and he's like, for you to just kind of give him what you thought he would want to hear, that's unacceptable. And he was like, I'm not changing the grade. So, of course, you know, Tyreek was feeling some type of way because he just got his first failing paper or whatever. So he came back to Zeke like, yo, what are you doing? Like, Zeke's over here playing video games, not doing any of his work, expecting Tyreek to do pretty much double the work. And, you know, them papers ain't easy in college. So he's like, yo, you need to do some of your work too. You say you had something to do. This is not important. So, you know, he's like, also, I need a favor for you. And his favor, he asked him, you know, if Monet, he still goes to, like, the dinners and stuff every week. He does. Monet comes over and he has a proposition for her. He asks her if he'd be able to work with her, because he is really good at getting money real fast. Like, in an hour, he had a whole bag full of money. So he would be able to get money, and, you know, he would want her to be his supplier. Once she said that, sorry, I'm looking for something, you guys. Once he said that, she was like, I feel like she wasn't really sure if she could actually work with him or not. But she's willing to give him a chance because he was able to put out a good argument when they were having their conversation. So they're going to end up working. But she was like, she doesn't want this around Zeke at all. So he's going to have to move out pretty much. And from what it looks like, he was prepared to, like, he ended up moving over with with Braden, so that he would be out of that room. Nothing would be able to touch him. They got little areas where they can put stuff, stash stuff, and it's a nice big place. So, you know, the white boyfriend that he had, he ends up coming through for him, you know. So, and that dude, he definitely has connections. He got pulled because their family owns, like, 2 sections of the school. So it's like he got a lot of connections, a lot of pulls, so it would definitely help. And it's a good look for him. So yeah, it's definitely something. I'm trying to check to see. Real quick, let me see. Yeah, so it's definitely, he's prepared. They about to be doing their thing, so it's about to get crazy. I'm definitely want to see how this is gonna go down. But Monet, she definitely doesn't play, so he definitely got to make sure that he's doing what he got to do, stay on track. And oddly enough, like after he spoke to his mother on the phone, then she gets another call. Of course, she thought it was going to be Tyrese, but nah, it was Mr. Tejada. He was like, yo, Tyreek better do what he got to do, or else that's it, he's dead. I was like, okay, that's not just a warning. So yeah, and shout out to, let's see, Saxon Heights from my last video. That's what I was trying to get to. Who said those 2 barrels did not look that big for his body parts to go in. That's the same thing I was saying. I was thinking it to myself as well, because like, how you get all of those pieces of somebody's body into those 2 barrels? Like, I feel like it should have been bigger barrels, but I guess we kind of got to use our imagination. But yeah, they should have definitely made it a little bit bigger. That's what I was thinking. But shout out to you. Alright guys, so that's pretty much the episode for the most part. Let me know what you thought about it. Your thoughts, your comments. I look forward to it. Alright guys, I'll see you next week for the next one. Later.